Hi, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here in my office at the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today is the 12th of November, and today, there's a conjunction between um, Pluto and Jupiter. It's the third one. Um, every time there's been one this year, there's been a spike in COVID cases, and this one would not be different. Even here in Massachusetts, the cases are going up. We're not in such dire situations as places like Texas, and I know a lot of the rural areas are really having a hard time keeping up. It's very, very sad. Um, it's sad because it's sad in itself, but it's also sad because it's been preventable. And unfortunately, the leadership was not leading us in that direction. Not that, uh, some of us don't need the leaders to tell us what to do. We just follow the science, as it were. Mm. Sorry, I was very parched. I had two clients, like one right after the other, and forgot to drink during it. So I've been telling you guys, please don't get crazy with this, all these shenanigans that Trump is pulling. And yet I have continuously been asked if this, what people are calling a coup attempt, is actually going to succeed. So, what is what is all of this stuff? And with Trump, what's he doing, and how's it going to affect America? So that's the question I'm asking. And again, I'm asking today on the 12th. Um, and we'll see. Now, tomorrow, Friday the 13th, Sun in Scorpio, ooh, and Mars stationing direct. Should be a pretty good day. And then we have a new moon this weekend. The energy is crazy, just crazy. Know that it's not going to last forever, but it's very, very intense. So let's see what the cards have to say about the intensity. And because we're talking about the United States, and because we're talking about, this maniac who unfortunately is still our president, we affect the whole world. It affects the whole world. They kind of look to us to say, hey, what are you going to do about this guy? Well, we voted him out. That's what we did. Of course, not something he wanted to hear, as anyone who has had any experience with a narcissist knows. If they don't want to hear it, they don't hear it. It's not part of their reality. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, their reality, if it doesn't jibe, then it's not real, right? Oops. All right. So the first card we have is the Wheel of Fortune. So this is a change in fortune. Now, I would say, first of all, I would say that this time that we're in is something that actually has to happen. It's something that was, in a way, to the best of the definition of predestined. Now, it didn't have to happen this way, but this was always going to be a time of great change. This was always going to be a time of shifting paradigms. So, whether Trump was in office, or whether Hillary Clinton was in office, or whoever was in office, this was always going to be a time. Now, we may not have had the experiences, and the coronavirus might not have been might have been something else, who knows. But this is a time of great change. So, all by itself, the Wheel of Fortune, so that's just a thing. The Wheel of Fortune, asking this question, talks about a change of fortune. And of course, going from being president to no longer being president, or being told that you're no longer president, is quite a change in fortune. And what's the challenge here? The world. The world. And the world is a card of endings. So the challenge here is, how do we end this? How do we bring this to a conclusion? How do we learn the lesson from this particular situation? The interesting thing about these two cards, as I sit here reading them, is that the Wheel of Fortune, here we go. The Wheel of Fortune is connected to Jupiter. The world is connected to Saturn. Both Saturn and Jupiter are in Capricorn, have been all year. Okay. And of course, today we have Jupiter conjunct Pluto. Saturn is right there. Everything is still together in Capricorn. But on the 21st of December, which is the first day of winter in the northern hemisphere, so the shortest day in the northern hemisphere, the longest day in the southern hemisphere, the planet Saturn and Jupiter are going to be making a conjunction. That conjunction is in the first degree of Aquarius. It's actually the first couple of minutes of Aquarius. You didn't even make it to the first degree. It's like, I don't know, 40, 45 minutes, 38 minutes, something like that. But just into Aquarius. Every 20 years, these two planets come together. And it's kind of a natural time for a paradigm shift in society. Now, the last, I think it was 200 years or something like that, those conjunctions were occurring in Earth. Saturn and Jupiter are what we call personal, social planets. They sort of also gas giants. They're called the gas giants. And, in society, we're all full of a little bit of hot air, right? Or in their case, cold air, because it's out there, frozen. But the way they interact with each other every 20 years is significant. It's been happening in Earth for 100 plus, maybe 150 years, maybe 200. I should know that exactly. I don't, and I apologize for not knowing that exactly. But now they're going to be making their conjunctions for the next, I think, at least 120 years. Of course, I'm not going to see it all, so it doesn't, And maybe you'll see this in 120 years, but I doubt it. It'll be in air signs. Starts in Aquarius. And so the way that society is structured and developed and develops and expands and contracts is going to be in a different way, because we're dealing with a different element. We're going from earth to air. And so the things that were of value while these things were occurring in earth, it's not the same value. The actual values, the whole value system changes into air. And so what's air? Air is, our awareness, how we think, what we are aware of. And Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and also Saturn. So we have Saturn in Aquarius. Aquarius is a Saturn ruled sign, but it also is ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus. So kind of what does that say? Well, this coming up, we're going to be having squares between Uranus and Taurus. Uranus in Taurus, sorry, and Saturn in Aquarius. These are last quarter crisis in consciousness squares. That deals with breaking down the old structures and moving into a more individuated state. So everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to want to do their own thing. But ultimately, that brings us to a place of more progressivism and also more working for the common good. We're going to have to work together to survive. The earth is a rumbling, and that is not going to stop. The weather is a crazy, and that's not going to stop. We can't really stop that. We can manage it. We can live differently. we can start making different decisions. And then you can't just talk about the science of it without the consciousness. We also have the capacity to shift things with our own consciousness. We do it now, but we do it mostly from an unconscious and fearful place. We can, especially with these new conjunctions in air signs, have society work on, like, not just working together physically, doing this, doing that, putting air turbines up and this and that and solar and not digging and not getting the oil and not overfishing. I mean, there are things we can do. Plant trees, maybe plant a garden, make things green again. How about that? Making America green again. That would be lovely. We can do all of that. We also have the capacity with our consciousness, and that is something that we cannot forget. We cannot forget. Okay, so this is supposed to be about Trump. Sorry, I got off on a tangent. See what's at the root of all of this. Father of Swords. So at the root is the question of legality. The Father of Swords holds the sword of truth. The Father of Swords wields the sword of truth. So what this says to me is that we can only go as far as the law allows. But let's see. At least that's the basic principle. That is, in a way, what I think most people are counting on, except for those people who think that he didn't actually lose and that there was all this cheating and it's all this fake news and all that, all those people who are in this weird sort of like alternative place. It's just spooky. Spooky. I mean, automatons. I mean, talk about the zombie apocalypse. Holy crap. I could say crap, right? The past. Five of Cups. So, sorrow. Sorrow. Now, this could be sorrow of losing, Trump losing, right? His sorrow. It could be the sorrow of his people. But I feel like it's us, the rest of us, who have sort of been really having to go through the process of mourning. Initially it was, mourning that, at least for me, that he was president. And then all the things that he did that went totally against everything that was important to me. It's been a traumatic couple of years. And of course, the people who now want us to be calm and not judgmental. Every time a wound got exposed, they took their salt shaker and they shook the salt into the salt shaker. They poked at all your wounds, and now they want us to be genteel. Well, I think we're above that poking in the salt, because really what we want is healing. We don't want them to be our enemies. At least I don't. Okay, so I'm talking for myself. But I think most people who watch this channel, and you can tell me if you disagree, just want peace and want us to move along and deal with the issues that we need to deal with. And that's going to require cooperation. And while it's not up to us to sort of back out and say, well, what do you guys want to do? No, that's not what it is. We have to lead, right? But we also have to have our hearts open in a way that they didn't have their hearts open. It's what Michelle says, right? You got to take the high road, because let me tell you, the low road is nowhere to go. Is nowhere to be. It stinks. Literally, it stinks. Let's see what's in the sky. The Ace of Swords. So we have at the root the wielder of the sword of truth, and at the sky. So what is up top? The rule of law. The rule of law. This up top, oh God, this is such a great reading. The Ace of Swords in the Kabbalah, as I read it, is associated with Aquarius, the root of air. And what did we just talk about? Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. That's the future. Sorry. Justice will be served. Balance, justice, the sword of truth. Goodness gracious. Glad I asked this question. How it's seen from outside. Strength. And this is not strength for Trump and strength for his minions and strength for his Kool-Aid drinkers. This is strength for the United States. Leo is actually the north node of the United States in the United States chart, the Sibley chart, and even the Gemini rising chart. It's still going to be the nodes are going to be the same. Interestingly enough, Joe Biden's Pluto sits on that north node. So he does have a place in the evolution of the United States. But then so does Bernie Sanders has his Pluto there. So it's not just, and so does Trump, actually, although not as close as Joe's, I think. And so all of those people who born at that time would have been important people to work with the archetypical energy of Leo. And Leo is about being a leader, but it's about being a heart centered leader. It's about being a generous leader. South Node is in Aquarius. Aquarius, while it does deal with equality, and it also deals with trauma. And so as we came from Europe, or as the pilgrims came in, there was that trauma of leaving their home, right? Having to go to an alien environment. And then once we were in the alien environment, it was the trauma to the people that lived here. And then we pulled the slaves over and there was trauma to them. So there's a lot of trauma, a lot of trauma. But also a search for freedom, which is what Aquarius is. So the domestic situation, he's done for, guys. He is so done. He is so done. There's no way this is going to work. No way. No, but it's because his time is done. I've said this before. His time is over. He's done what he needed to do. We needed him. I know it's hard, and I didn't want to say it ever, but I've come to the realization that we needed that energy to get us to the place we are now. He's a tester. He will just push and push and push and push and test the limits. And the limit at this point is the rule of law and equality and fairness and justice. Because as Glenn Kushner says, no, Kushner, not Kushner, Glenn, that guy, Glenn, you know who I'm talking about. Justice matters. Hopes and fears. Healing. I would say this is a hope for all of us. Healing. Outcome. Oops. I forgot where I put my cards. Ooh, the Mother of Swords. So we have the Father of Swords. We have the Mother of Swords. And we have the Ace of Swords. And Justice. I think this is Kamala. I think that's Kamala. She is a Libra. But Aries Moon, don't mess with her. And Mars and Leo, don't mess with her. And Mercury and Scorpio. Let's see if we can pull a major arcana. The Emperor. Oh, crap. The Eight of Cups underneath it all. This is Trump's card. He is not going to succeed. The Ten of Swords, however, in the domestic situation means that there's going to be a lot of endings. So that's not going to be fun. But that being said, he will not succeed in this, whatever this is. And perhaps I could ask, maybe in a on a different deck, what is he exactly trying to accomplish? Because it's not, this is not the coup, or whatever this is, or what people are calling the coup, is not going to work. He is out because his time is up. He's done his duty. It doesn't maybe feel that way. All right, let's see. Let's pull my handle being dealt. Oops. All right. Let me just pull a few cards. What is he actually? What is he actually trying to do? What is he trying to accomplish here? I mean, maybe just that he thinks he should be president. I mean, that's possible. I'm just gonna pick 5 cards on this. So like right out of the middle of the deck here. All right, let's see. What's he trying to accomplish? The Ace of Wands. So something new. So this is a new start for him. The Eight of Wands. Information coming out. The Mother of Wands, or the Queen of Wands, Kali. That's, well, Kali is a destructive power, but she's also a constructive power. She's sort of death and rebirth, Kalima. Kalima, Kalima. And she, yeah. Yeah, this is, okay, let me continue. The Sun. Son of Stones. Chief Seattle, the Prince of Stones. This looks to me like he is trying to create a buzz to make more money. That's what it looks like. I saw a thing on, was it MSNBC or CNN? They were talking to the Deutsch guy, Danny Deutsch, Davy Deutsch, whatever his name is. And he said that this was a way to create a buzz for Trump's new, oh, that's a good question to ask. Trump has a new, some sort of media company where he's going to do tele-rallies and all this other stuff. He wants to keep his base or whatever. Should maybe do one on the Republicans, but let's do this quickly. Will he actually be able to do that? Will he have his own channel, or will something get in the way of that? The Son of Cups. Percival. So this is somebody who has like an idealism or a perspective or an illusion or delusion. The Chariot, which is moving forward motion. Hope, the Star card. The Fool. The Hierophant. Well, I think he definitely wants to go in that direction. But I don't know if the government can do anything to stop that. But it's definitely a thing. Wheel of Fortune. The Daughter of Cups. That could be Ivanka. The Hermit. I'll still keep picking. The Nine of Swords. Cruelty. The Ace of Cups. Oops, sorry. Ace of Cups. And one last card. The Three of Cups. Um, it's interesting there's no Justice cards here. I thought that might come up. It didn't come up. It's a possibility. It's a possibility that he will be allowed to do that. As to how successful it'll be, I think is going to depend on how much oxygen it gets. I think the really important thing is for those people in the media not to give it oxygen, to let it die its own death. There'll always be people, who want to foment that. And we may have to do that for a while. We may have to do that for a while. Deal with it, have it there, like constantly niggling at us, annoying us. We'll see. We'll see. All I know, there's no coup. I mean, he might be trying to do that, but it ain't going to work. Not going to work. Sorry. I mean, yay. Right? So, people want to like diss me for this, and I get all those bots and all that weird stuff. Know that I am going to delete you. Okay? I'll leave the comments open, but if I get any crap, I'm going to delete it. I love you guys. Thank you so much. It's it's been such a year, hasn't it? It's just been crazy. I mean, honestly, since 2012, it's been nuts. 2011. Okay, maybe 2010. Whatever. So that's 10 years of craziness. We probably have another 10 years, but different kind of craziness. Different. More. We're building stuff now. Well, there's still some stuff to come down, so I can't say we're in the process. Like we're building while things are still coming down, and then we'll be building. So, and we have to listen to one another, and we have to figure out why these people who drink the Kool-Aid drank the Kool-Aid. Why did they feel the need to do what they did? Do they have valid points? Probably. There are probably some valid points in there, and we have to be open to them. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I did. I did. Like and subscribe. Love you guys. Much, much love. Take care.